this computer. And yeah, if you do have questions at any point, feel free to pause me and or just put questions in the chat. But welcome everybody. Thanks you for joining me. We will be going over this short meeting here on what does this collaborative study group look like, and what will you be able to do in order to prepare for everything for the AP bio exam. How can you work together to do that? So I gave that survey out back before winter break, and in that survey, people were saying that they needed flexibility because they didn't know what to expect for semester 2 in their classes and their course load, and that they really wanted to collaborate with other people, but it might be difficult depending on who's in your group and how well you work together and what you can do. So this collaborative study group structure that I've found and put together here, it is designed to help scaffold that. So even if you're not meeting with someone who's like your best friend, even if you're not meeting with someone who's like your best friend, you can still use this collaborative study group to have this structure so you can more easily manage studying with someone who you're like maybe familiar with and you're okay with. Zoe, can you tell Eleanor to click on the other link? So this one doesn't have him. She probably clicked on that meeting link. Have her click on the collaborative study groups meeting link. It's a different one. This one doesn't have a waiting room, so I can't let people in. Yeah, cool. Where was I? Let's close that. So yeah, a couple bits of information for us all. On my Launchpad, I have this collaborative study group stuff. So on this Launchpad, after this meeting, I will post the video of what I'm recording right now. I'm going to post that to the collaborative study group so you can rewatch this whole thing. But I'll also have this link to the slides that I'm showing over here. All of this information will be on there, as well as this schedule and group links. I'm actually going to link you all, those of you who are in the meeting right now, you will have this right now, and you can go into that because that's what I want to bring your attention to first. This spreadsheet has some information in it, and it should be editable. You should be able to edit it. I think it's open to everybody who has the link. And what I've set up over here is a schedule. So starting in February, I say like, hey, give yourself a couple wait weeks, get used to semester 2. Don't worry about studying for AP Bio. Let yourself relax. And then starting on February 15th, meet with your team, plan, whatever, play a game, get to know each other, build community. And then every week after that, I have this suggested schedule. It's definitely not required. None of this is required. This is all just suggested. A suggested schedule of what units to cover week by week up until the AP Bio exam, as well as a little bit of time for like, spring break and a week or so of just time before the AP Bio exam, all that kind of stuff. So there's this schedule that you can follow. I definitely recommend you follow it, but you don't have to. It's not required. And then the other set of information over here is just this open group setup thing. I have 8 different meeting links, so I could have up to 8 people meet, or 8 teams meeting at any point in time. I can add more to this list if we end up having more people. But we have all of these meeting links, and essentially you can put your name down right now into any group that you want. And at any point, I would recommend this is how you can sort of schedule what group you're working in. So put your name down in a group. You can like private message your friend and be like, hey, Lauren, let's sign up for group 3, you and me, group 3, okay? And we both put our names in for group 3, right? And then whoever's in that group, work together to decide when you're going to meet. So since I have the meeting schedule set up to be like, 1 unit per week, figure out meet like once a week if you can. If you can find the time to meet once a week or weekends. Write down like what day of the week you're going to meet, what time you're going to meet. Maybe you update that with your group. and you figure out you can have that like sort of space to schedule stuff. You're also welcome to use your own, like if you want to meet over in Google Meets, or if you want to meet over, I don't know, FaceTime or something, you're welcome to do that. These are all just suggestions, things that you can use if you want to. So if you want to put your name down, put it in there. If you're not able to make any edits, do let me know, and I'll adjust the permissions, but I think everybody should be able to. Yeah, it should be able to do that. So feel free to do that. That's all up to you. And then let's go ahead and jump into figuring out what collaborative study groups are. What does this time look like? So this is a place, a time and place, a meeting, digital place, where you'll be able to meet with other students, meet with your peers, and work on studying a certain topic or a series of questions on your own, figuring out your own ideas and helping each other. You can practice some of the like big cognitive skills, trying to like solve problems as necessary. That'll help you to exceed on the AP bio exam, like work through explaining your ideas, that sort of thing. So the structure that I have that I'm suggesting here does require a little pre-work. So before you attend your team meeting, I would recommend that you start with this pre-work form. So on the Launchpad, there is this link to this pre-work form here, which you can open up. Every time you click on this link, it's going to force you to make a new copy. So once you have made a copy, maybe you just go back to the same one over and over. It'll be in your Google Drive, but it will look like this. And you can decide, like you can put your name, subject, whatever. You can identify like what the main idea is. What are your sort of questions? What problems or sources are you using to do your notes? What vocabulary is coming up? What are some definitions? What are some main concepts that you know or that you can predict? You know, what are your specific questions? Whatever you want. You can use, it's just a bunch of questions, a bunch of prompts to help you like think through whatever it is you want to think through. Before you meet, I recommend that you give a pass over your own notes from, you know, the notes that you've been taking over the year, or you can go back to my website. You can use any of the Launchpad information to go back and see like what were the homeworks that I assigned, what were the slides that we reviewed, what were the assignments that we did. You can go back and review all of those things as you feel necessary. And wrong slide, take notes, however you want. Go through, like, you know, reset your Cornell notes, do a graphic organizer, make list, mind maps, you know, use a highlighter and highlight the notes that you've already written. Whatever it is that you have, you can do that. I also have this link, so if you want to learn more about other notes, if you're in the slides, you can click on that link to find more information about taking notes, that sort of thing. That's just there as a resource for you in the future. So then you can use that pre-work form where you are identifying those key things. And it's best if you do this, or if you have the subject similar among the other people who are in your group with you. So, you know, that's why I put the schedule over here. So everybody in the group is looking at unit 1 at the same time, and you come to the meeting with some of these ideas about like, what are the essential targets? What are the essential learning? What questions are you coming into the meeting with to guide your work? You know, you did yeah, just some examples there. Yeah, you show your work, like try to work through any problems. You can go into AP Classroom. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up all the quizzes. After the semester ends, I'm going to open up all the quizzes. So you'll be able to go back and look at all of the assignments and all of the progress checks and have everything open and available to you. So you can explore it as you want. So those might be things that you use as resources when you're doing this pre-work. An example, more examples. Yeah, and then you get to the actual collaborative study group, right? Once you're in the collaborative study group, when you meet at that meeting, again, that link that I have to all these meeting links, those are open and available to you at any time. Um, you don't have to have me there to get into these meetings. I have it open to you. You can meet at any time you want. You'll be able to click on one of those links and it'll open up a new Zoom window and you can work, right? So you go in, you meet up with your group. Where am I? And once in your group, get all your materials, get out all the forms that you need, find your links. The Launchpad will have the links to the pre-work form and the CSG notes that I'll be talking about. I would recommend when you get into a group that you select one student, and you can rotate this as you go, but select one student for the day who's going to be your facilitator, who's just going to help not like be the smartest person in the group or be able to answer all the questions in the group, but the facilitator is the person who's just going to help you progress and move through the steps that you're looking to move through. They will help you think about the process, and they can also help to like send me a question if you have questions, that sort of thing. I'm not going to assign different roles aside from the student facilitator, but here are some decisions that the facilitator might help like decide, like who goes first, right? Like each person will have come to the meeting with this pre-work thing done. And the main thing with pre-work is that there are a bunch of questions that everyone's coming up with. So which student is going to bring their question to the group first? So decide who's going to go first. You can also decide how much time will each person get. You might be like, hey, we need to move through things quickly, so each person is only going to have 10 minutes. Or if there are just like two of you, you can be like, all right, each of us are going to spend about 30 minutes talking about our topic before we move on, right? Like you can decide that sort of thing. So side note, some of these slides were originally made for like in-person meetings. So take that with a grain of salt, right? So the things down in yellow are usually like, hey, this is a thing you can do as a group. So once you get started, everybody is in the meeting. You can like, turn your video on or unmute yourself as you feel comfortable, but be able to participate. The goal for these meetings is to be able to participate. Take turns. Have one person take their pre-work form and read whatever question or problem that you want to go over. What is that question that you're coming in with? And then go over like what sort of prior knowledge does each person have about this topic? And then what strategies are you using to answer those questions? And what I have made is this, let's see, on the Launchpad, it's this CSG notes, which is a Jamboard. And I'd recommend you start a new one for each time you meet with your groups, start a brand new one of these. You can write in your topic, you can write in the learning objective, and then there are some reminders. You can also assign roles, facilitator, or you can say like, I'm gonna do all of my notes in pink while student B is gonna do all of their notes in green and student C is gonna do all their notes in blue, right? And then when you go to the next page, there are more reminders of various things. And you might start with someone's question. So you might go in and be like, okay, my color was blue, so I'm gonna write, question, name, whatever, Stuart, and my question is blah, 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 whatever, post that. And that's gonna be, I'm gonna put my question there. And then as you take notes, you can put your notes over there. As you identify links and stuff, you can put those links and resources and anything else over here. You can like start to organize your collaborative notes. This is shared for everybody, right? I'm going to delete this so it's out of the way. And then you can do that for the next person who presents. And you can do that for the next person who presents. And if you want to like duplicate any of these slides for like each of these presenters who are going, you can always just click that button there and go duplicate, and then you make another one. So I'm going to delete that just because I don't want to change anything right now. So each person who comes, each turn, as you take turns, each member of your group will have like their moment to shine and ask the questions, and then you work together to copy down notes and record any ideas that are coming up on this document, so you can reference it later. Okay, right? You talk, add to that Jamboard. You know, whatever ideas come up, you can follow that through. You know, there are some suggestions for what various group members can do, questions to ask. It's always good to just get as many different ideas and perceptions and ways that people are answering questions. What strategies are people using to answer questions or like solve problems? You know, any of that can come up. Also, I have a list of questions that you might be able to ask each other, questions to sort of help stimulate the conversation and help you like take things a little bit further. There are some questions here in the slides that you might be able to follow up with. And I believe, let me check again. Yeah, some of those like questions, stems, they're also here in the CSG notes, as well as like steps for like, what does the facilitator do? What does the group members do? What does the student presenter do? That sort of thing. Okay. So that's that. Yeah, similar ideas. What do you do if you don't find a solution? So you have this big question, you're working on it, you're trying to answer it, you've exhausted all the different possibilities. What the presenter should do, or the facilitator, whatever you decide, follow up with me, your teacher. Send me an email. All my contact information is always on that launch pad. You have my email address there. Even though I won't be technically your teacher next semester, I am still your AP Bio teacher and I still will respond. So if you have a question that you just can't solve as your own group, you can send me that question, email it to me, or you can like make an appointment. We can meet over video if you prefer that. And I can help you out and answer any of those questions that you can bring back to your group the next time you meet. Okay. Then what do you do at the end or after a collaborative study group? A good thing to do to help you remember what you've learned as you're reviewing is to reflect and review that same content. So in the collaborative study groups, the last couple slides are a place to review, try to list down what is some of the vocabulary that you came up with? What were some of those concepts and connections? How did the process go? How was it actually going through this? Like what worked well in the process, what did not? And recording that information will help you to make your next collaborative study group work that much more efficiently. And then there's also a place for you to individually do it. So during today's collaborative study group, I excelled at this. My goal for the next one is this. And remember, like, if each person has a different color of sticky notes, then at the end, when you're processing, you know, if my sticky note color is green, I'm going to put all my information in green. So you can separate it out and have notes for each other, just sort of sticking in those spots. All right. Yeah, so reflection process, make connections between new learning and previous learning, complete your notes, prepare for next time, that sort of thing. Really, the whole goal here is to help you remember stuff. And there's been lots of science on memory that really show that doing a reflection helps you to remember things. If you go through a process and you reflected on what you did, reflected on these like collaborative study group activities, you could increase your grade by like 18 to 23%. That statistically, that's just sort of what it shows, is you end up doing a lot better when you have practiced, when you've reflected, when you've done these activities. And that can make a huge difference. So So this is what we're sort of wrapping up the meeting here. This is what I would recommend. Sign up for a group. So if you go to that schedule, some people are already putting in their name. I highly recommend if you're like, I don't know which group I want to be in. I could be in a group by myself, or, you know, Bijou's not a terrible person. So I'm going to put my name over there in Bijou's group. I didn't ask her, but I think she'll be okay with that. And, you know, you can put your name in with someone else's group. Please always be welcoming to anybody who joins your group. Welcome them in. Be inviting and be inclusive to others who are working to study, because maybe individuals might not have, you know, a friend group that they know really well. And so they're like, you know, just trying to figure it out. So if you are just on your own and you haven't had a group yet, just put a name down. These people in the collaborative study group will welcome you, I promise. And if they don't, I'll follow up with. Okay. So once you sign up for a group, propose a time to meet, figure out when's a good time. It can be flexible. You can continue to flex that, get contact information. I highly recommend that you get your contact information to the other people in the group. Put your emails out there, share you know, numbers so you can text, whatever you need to do. You can prepare that pre-work form, which is on the Launchpad, the pre-work form, so you can like start taking notes on whatever topic you want to do, and review that schedule of what topics to review when. And then when you meet, do the collaborative study group notes, share your notes with each other so you have access to it. And that is that. So are there any questions that anybody has about anything? I think I saw a question there. These two links, I think I have it to when you click on those ones, it should force you to make a copy, and then once you make a copy, then you can do for the really. Did I not do that for the? It should be the same for this one too, is it not? Yeah, you should be able to make a copy. When you make a copy, it depends. You might need to pay attention to which account you've signed into, whether it's your PPS one or your student one. It shouldn't matter, but just like make sure you're signed in with the account, because it's up to you. Like once you make a copy, it is owned by you. So one of your accounts is the one that has the ability to open up access for it. I can't give you access in that way. Let's close that. Yeah, sure, whatever. But okay, let me see if I can do. For those of you who are in the group right now, maybe can you, and Lauren, where did Lauren go? Here's the link to the one with that make a copy of that link that I just shared with you guys right now. And you make a copy of it so you can actually edit that one. Yeah. Cool. Any other questions? I guess I could. Yes, Olivia, I did. And I also sent it directly to Lauren as well, since other people are using the forced copy one.